2019 is the only centrally organized public-private partnership and the first by an African country to commemorate 400 years of the arrival of the first enslaved African to the United States.
We want to be able to give our ancestors the worthy honor that they deserve through their resilience of producing the greatest generation of Africans that ever existed. That is our mission. Our mission is to remember what they have done, to remember their sacrifice, but to also be worthy of that sacrifice, to produce and manifest a generation of Africans that can manage our own affairs in reality, and that can also be the masters of our own destiny. That is the generation we want to proclaim Africans to be today. That is why we want to commend the government of Ghana. We want to commend the president of Ghana for taking on this bold initiative to do something that's never been done before, to proclaim a year of return. That's not just one event. That's a historical statement, Mr. President, which we want to commend you for. Putting your name to this, putting your administration to this, and inspiring Africans. Let's change the narrative. Let's lift up the African image. Let's make the African of the 21st century a new African. 400 years is long enough for other people to proclaim and to write and to declare our narrative. African people must write their own story. The year of return, Ghana 2019, will manifest that new kind of African.
It's a very emotional day for those of us who have come to reunite with our family here. Everything that we have listened to, every person who has spoken, one single thing resonates: come home. And it's a very powerful statement. So I wish to reiterate that commitment that Ghana, under the able leadership of our president, who has shown total commitment by being here today with us to launch and to commemorate the year of return, I repeat, come home. Please, take this message from this confine of this room and tell everyone and everyone, pay it forward, that we as Africans have the spirit of resilience. We are here for a purpose, to tell the story. So those who have lost hope will see that they are still alive for a reason. There are young people on substances that have no business being on. It's because they have lost their way. You and I will use this occasion under the auspices of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, who has opened the doors for you and I to tell the story of the resilience of our people.
We're gathered to initiate the year of commemoration of one of the most momentous events of history, the commencement of the transatlantic trade, slave trade, which brought tens of millions of Africans to the Americas, North, Central, and South. We know of the horrors that accompanied that forced journey. We know of the brutalities that were meted out to them during their stay in the Americas. We know of the great difficulties they have encountered in attempting to assimilate and live and maintain their dignity in the Americas. We know of the extraordinary achievements and contributions they have made to the life of the Americas. And it is important that in this symbolic year, 400 years later, we commemorate their existence and their sacrifices. It was in anticipation of the year of commemoration. I would like to dedicate this whole ceremony and this to his memory. He insisted on granting easy visas to all returnees, and that we should give force to the right of abode. I think it is the duty of my government to do both of those things in commemorating of next year. But I would like to say in conclusion that the most important consequences of all the activity we're here to initiate is that together on both sides of the Atlantic, we will work together to make sure that never again.
In that. He did the bars inside. He did the bars inside. He did the bars inside. He did the bars inside.
Yeah, welcome to Ghana.
Thank you very much.
Africa.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good to have you here.
Absolutely.
And we all love your show.
Thank you.
Watch it all the time.
Yeah. They just made this for me today. Chocolate. He paid no measurements or nothing. He said he took to watch my show for years. And so he made me my captain.
I put it on, just kept it on. I said, I don't rock that. Nice and sexy, ain't it?
back home in Ghana at such a significant time?
I mean, it's wonderful. I mean, it's with a delegation of African Americans, African descendants. I think African descendants need to come to Ghana all over the hemisphere, whether it's South America, North America, whether it's Canada, whether it's wherever it is. This is a significant moment. It's 400 years, and there are a lot of questions that we have to ask ourselves right now about the state of the African world, including Africa. We're not simply just citizens of our respective countries where we live now as expatriates. We also have to talk about the world, Africa and the world, and the rest of the world. Our responsibility as African descendants is talk about the more than 200.
And go home to my Lord and be free.
Yes, I'm so proud of the government of Ghana coming up with the Year of Return celebration, because this is just the beginning, from my perspective, of getting the people-to-people ties from the diaspora and Africa. Because we are one nation, we have one destiny, and we need to know each other, visit each other, do business with each other, marry each other, you know, and then we're going to be stronger that way.
You said you moved here in 2014?
2014.
Where were you living before?
I was living in California before that.
And what made you decide to choose Ghana of all the countries in the continent of Africa?
The company that I was working for decided to launch operations in Ghana, so I volunteered to come.
Okay, great.
And I loved it so much.
You say?
We've had a lot of success, and I've decided to stay.
Awesome.
We're good.
Awesome.
Yes.
I'm Danny Glover, and I've had the opportunity to work in Ghana and producing the film Deadly Boys 24 years ago. It was one of the bright moments of many moments in the history of Ghana and the filmmaking. From Ghana Films, which was established at the time of its independence, one of the first countries to establish their own film production company after independence was Ghana. It also was an opportunity to get to know many of the wonderful filmmakers here, many of the technicians and artists and actors who were part of that. Some of them are still doing work, are renowned in the work they're doing. I think that we have an extraordinary opportunity in this moment, right now, in Ghana's history, to create something that's sustainable. And that sustainability lies in setting a Ghana national film and industry, putting it on its feet, bringing people to Ghana to make films as one of the number one destination in West Africa, providing the opportunity not only to build a film industry, but allowing them to create work that serves not only West Africa and Africa, but the rest of the planet as well. I'm here as essentially on this year of return, saying that one of the first things that I would want to return with and be a part of is such a venture. Thank you so much.
Thank you.